welcome to my craft table. This is Lovecraft with Cass, and I'm Cass here in Australia doing some crafting. Now, this is a little bit different from what I normally do because I was trying to troubleshoot some problems I had with camera and somehow knocked my microphone out of the software. So none of what I talked about while doing this video turned up in audio. So let's yay for voiceover. So here I'm explaining the symbolism of the tunnel and the flowers. So I'll just go back a bit. Obviously I'm showing you what pen I'm using. While I'm going to be colouring in around the bricks, I will update you with what we're actually doing today. So today I'm working on the prompt from the Journal for All Seasons, A Year in Self-Care by Catherine Cloth Tales. And I will link Catherine's video of this prompt to mine in my description box, as I do for all my videos that are kind of prompted by another creator. And so this prompt was stepping forward into the future. So it's about, kind of coming out of a hard or dark place and looking forward into the future and actually stepping into it. So for me, I've created this tunnel. The brickwork is done by some scrap paper painted with washed out ink. So it's like an ink wash, not washed out ink, watered down ink, sorry. And it's just, a real ink wash. I was just using up the rest of the ink I had poured out for my dip pen and didn't want to waste it. So just grab some scrap papers and cut them into grab some scrap papers and just did the ink wash to use all the ink up so I could use it for things like this and collaging. So to make the bricks, obviously I just cut them in strips and then in rectangles. Everything is glued down with PVA, even the flowers and leaves, they're all washi tape. And washi tape has a very, very limited sticky life. So I glued them down with PVA to make sure they were there and lasted the test of time, so to speak. So for me, the symbolism of this tunnel being dark, so what I'm doing is I'm colouring in between all the bricks with a light grey pen, and then you will see I actually want the colours to get darker as it goes into the tunnel. I've had some very serious, life-threatening, actually dying and being revived type medical issues, along with mental health issues with trauma and abuse. So when I hit a cycle of having to go through, dealing with a really bad time that I'm triggered or my wellness is just in the gutter, I always call that the tunnel, because you're traveling through this tunnel darkness. And so when I'm going through the steps to get from one side of the tunnel to the other, I always talk about, I'm just about out that side, or I have come out of that tunnel. So that's the symbolism for me personally. I kind of view those periods, episodes, cycles, whatever kind of words that you can relate to or resonate with in terms of when things are the bleakest, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, all of the above. It is a period of time that you do have to push through, and I know many people will relate with having to get through these periods. And for me, it is like going into a tunnel and having to just walk through it and just get to the other side. And each time I experience a kind of dark or bleak time or a time of real unwellness, that, you know, they're never the same. They're never the same type of tunnel. And that's why my shading, I'm going from the bricks with a light grey and centering in for the centre to be the darkness. Now, not all tunnels are as pitch black as each other, metaphorically speaking. For me, my experiences, they're not all the same length, you know, they're not all like really hard surfaces to walk on. You can take the analogy as far as you want. But for me, this stepping forward into the future, I wanted to symbolize it in a way that it's like tunnels, kind of like, can be an everyday thing. Walking through a tunnel can be every single day. It could just be a bridge, like you're going under a bridge type thing kind of length. But, you know, it's about just every day stepping into future, not at the cost of being in the present. Said in last video that I did, a quote from Jamie Lee Curtis that she had heard when she was in recovery was, be where your feet are. So, you know, be where your feet are, but you can hold your chin up and look like to your next step. And I find you know, that's just because if you stop stepping, you just stay in the middle of the tunnel, and no one wants that for anyone. So yeah, so this is me starting to blend. I had 3 other brush pens. So I had the grey brush pen that I got from a Japanese shop, and these 3 brush pens that I'm using are brown, sepia, and black. I did a video on treating myself to some new stationery, as it was the anniversary of life-saving surgery that I had, where I had to have open heart surgery, and I had tumours actually growing in my heart, like inside, which, as you can imagine, is quite uncommon, and surviving it is even more so. So I like to celebrate that anniversary every year, not in huge, like, you know, throw a big festival away, although, yeah, I wouldn't mind a festival. Next year will be 10 years, so maybe we will have to do a festival. But yes, 9 years, and I take this time for this day to just be grateful that, you know, I'm kind of like, thank goodness for the technology we have to do the surgery. I will just say a little bit of details just so you know what kind of surgery I had. I won't go into gory details because I too have a weak stomach, for those of you who don't like hearing about things. But if you don't want to hear anything at all, just skip ahead a minute or so. But yeah, my surgery, I was very sick for a while and couldn't work out why, and eventually, after much palaver, as you can imagine, trying to get results and questions answered and stuff from the medical field, you know, and, you know, being a female and mum of young kids, they're just like, oh yeah, you're just exhausted, just, you know, drink more water and whatever. And so it took nearly a year to find out, and these, like, I kept passing out and stuff, but what it was my heart was stopping because the tumours had grown so big, and they'd been there for decades, and they'd grown so big they're actually, you know, causing my heart to stop. And we were like, I was in an ambulance and they caught my heart stopping, the ECG, the portable one in the ambo, and put me onto a cardiologist, and he discovered the tumours. So luckily, because I was told much longer, and it would have been kind of, not good, not good news. So yeah, it's pretty quick. Within days, I was in getting the surgery. They put me on the heart-lung machine. They literally took my heart out and cut it open and got the tumours out, and patched my heart up, and put it back. It sounds so simple when you say it like that. As you can imagine, recovery from that kind of thing was phenomenally long and arduous, and it has come with the downsides of, the things I used to love doing, like sport, and used to have a motorbike. I had just got my motorbike license, and anyone with a heart condition in Australia, at least, it's not legal to ride a motorbike. So, which, if my heart stopped while I was riding on the motorbike, then could have caused much damage. So that's a good law to have. I have no issues with that, but I was a bit sad. I had to get rid of my bike. So, and I can't play soccer anymore if my heart gets over a certain rhythm. Then it is in danger of stopping again, just because that's the post aftermath kind of thing. I still have heart condition, AF, for those who know, atrial fibrillation. So my heart is just wonky. Still big and full of love, though. And I love you all and all my family, and I'm just so grateful for everything. And so as we're watching the video still, I'm now putting some pearl watercolor over the washi tape flowers and leaves. Sadly, it doesn't pick up on the camera. It just looks wet, which is a shame. But crafters out there, you know what pearly shimmer looks like. I am sure. So I really wanted this to symbolize those journeys, like the heart surgery one. That was hard. People ask me what the hardest part of it was, and it was like being told to get my affairs in order, and before I went for surgery, I had to say goodbye to everyone, just in case I didn't get a chance to say anything after. As you can imagine, that for me, that was the hardest part, not the physical stuff. My kids were in primary school and just started high school, and I want to see them grow up. So I am beyond grateful that I am here for that, and 9 years later still going. So we have this, my husband's so sweet, he bought me cake, and everyone went, "Happy you're not dead day, yay!" So, and I know that might make other people cringe, but for us, we just celebrate. I'm alive, and it's fantastic, and it has not been easy, not one little bit. But it is good to be here, and I'm very grateful for that. And so for the celebration, I treated myself to some new stationery to do Drawloween, which is like Inktober, because who doesn't love new pens and a new sketchbook, right? And I did do a video about that if you want to go look at that. And hubby took me and the doggo to the beach, and we had cake with the kids, and it was, like I said, it's a very small, but it's just to recognize and give thanks that we were absolutely able to keep being here and keep being together as a family. Here in the video, I'm just trying to show you the shimmer, but like I said, it just looks wet. It is very, very subtle, but it is there, and you can see it quite nicely in real life. But if you're a crafter, I'm sure you've worked with pearl shimmer of some varying degree, of some mediums. So yeah, so I've kept it pretty simple in terms of technique with this one, because I feel like the symbology just takes all the credit kind of thing. It didn't need to be anything big and well, no, it is big, but it didn't need to be anything crazy difficult. Simple symbology. And it's about to finish, so I'm going to say thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.